Hey team, how are we going? It is Kaz from In the Trenches with Kaz, and this is a last minute stream. I didn't think I was going to get to do. We do it on Friday. It's now Sunday night. We don't normally stream on Sunday anymore because the week is yours, and this is your day of rest. But for all those who can make it, welcome. The topic is over to you. Tonight is not going to be a pitch. It is a send off to some of our special people, and we've got some of our special people right here with Hannibal Barker, the man who crossed the Alps to go and fight Julius Caesar. No, he didn't. He didn't fight Caesar, but he did fight Scipio Africanus. We've got Exo Challenger. We've got November Rain. That's a nice name. Ching Chong World Dog. Sounds like you thought a lot about that name, mate. Dave D, some great news like recently with his OSB, Officer Selection Board, successful pursuit of his PFA and his OSB, etc. Well done. Some really good scores there. We got Morgan, Ashley and Morgan. We've got Retro Gaming. He's always here. Jay Hayes, all the way from WA. It's probably about dinner time for you at the moment, mate. 6-3 Yankee JP. Great to have you here, mate. As always, duty first. Brenton Druitt, g'day. Lauren is shining. Do you have a hangover? Lauren's got some big plans in the system too, but she won't let me know what they all are. It must be one of those feelings of, I'm just not sure whether it's going to work out, so I can't tell you a boy or a girl sort of thing, and she's not actually pregnant. It's a big change. Sea change, move change. Michael Stott, medic! He calls, but instead of atropine, instead of morphine, he gets a Panadol. Government setbacks. We've got JJ, is it? Sorry about my eyes, mate. G'day, guys. G'day, you. And believe you is snowy, but not in a sailor kind of way. We've got JJ there with Josh Wackman, not Hugh. Good evening, team. Good evening, you. Chronic. Sounds like a Russian drug. G'day, buddy. How you going? Alex Ellery, how you going, mate? Was just instructing on a promotion course this whole weekend. Cadets right there representing. Ronnie File, how you going, mate? Mark Schroeder, good to have you here, mate. November Rain, should do another infantry video. I have another infantry video set up because I realised how much just wasn't in there. But what I might have to throw in there is some anecdotal evidence of some of my career mixed in with that. And that's a great idea. James Carr, you're on the video. You're about to go. This is his last night, his last meal with his family, friends, etc. What is your last meal going to be? Hello. That's a weird thing to say. G'day. You're Australian, mate. Come on, represent. Bucks, Kaz also did my asthma test today from a civilian doctor, and I'm all good. Good to hear, mate. It's 4 p.m. for Jay Hayes. Asthma is a real for military team, and as well it should be. Brady Cars, Hallway 17. Hallway 17! That'll say that every single day for the next 3 months. How are you, Kaz? I'm not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad. I'm a little bit short on the energy. At the moment, I am looking after my daughter 100% while her mama is over in India at the moment on a work trip that has gone horribly wrong as far as flights go, and she still hasn't made it there. Jason Harrison is one of the best people you'll ever meet in your life, and if I had a mentor anywhere, it would be Jace. I'm going to say something to represent Jace here, because is that a lint collection back there? It is, but I'm going to make up a mustache collection of every era since the 1900s. Jace Harris is a master sniper. He is the guy that knows the difference between a rifle and a gun and a long barrel. He is the guy, the font of knowledge. He runs the Old Boys Club, the 2nd Battalion Museum. When he says something, that contradicts what I say, listen to him. There's a good chance it is correct. He is on the ball. He never comes up short. But that's because he's tall. And so is the rest of his family. All the best to you, Jason Harrison. And Nutsu Cow, the White Warrior. I call him brother. And it's not because we're in the army together. I just love the dude. But again, not in a sailor kind of way. trying to not to jinx it, Gaz. So yeah, I guess you would be. Lauren, I thought the worms were done. Michael Stott. Harrison Bennett, how's it going, Kaz? Michael McNamara, good luck to everyone tomorrow, and cheers to Kaz for your work. Thanks, mate. Guys and gals, we're going to jump forward a little bit. We're just going to explain something. We've had a little bit of a turbulent time. I was very lucky. I made a comment on a video a while back, and it was the one that was called The Truth. I got some really unusual responses. Every now and then you throw a cast net and it gets it gets the prawns, it gets the food, it gets the right people with the right message. But this time I chucked it, a comment out there, and it was like a torch at night time that lured over all the trolls, and I've caught them in one net. They're all caught in replies under one comment. And one guy in particular, Justin Smith, I think his name is, in particular, has really sunk to a new low. I don't think he's seen the rest of our channel or the rest of our videos. He's absolutely tacked our credibility and saying he's stating that an information from basically a dumb grunt sort of stuff. Well, let me explain to you. When you go to infantry or armoured corps or wherever you go to, there's necessarily an IQ element to that. It is also the patriotism that draws you to be at the tip of the spear. So I don't understand why people from our own fraternity would actually turn on their own, especially when the message was solid. Yeah, I'm not going to get in a back and forth with him. You know, there's no teaching some people. You know, the negativity is dripping off them, and I'm not sure why. Take care, Kaz. Love to the daughter. Jace, you haven't met her yet. Oh, you have met her. It was a lot of years ago, but she's a happy little girl, mate. She's a happy little Vegemite, and I'm happy to be a dad. Yeah, so if you ever want to go and check the troll comments out, go and check out the very first comment for The Truth. Australian Army, The Truth, I think it's called. It goes for about 3 minutes. It can be quite entertaining. Is anyone here leaving in April? We'll have a video for you guys there, JJ. I know that he's probably thinking, Harry, Kaz, come on, you only ever give us the good points about the Australian Army, about the bad points. Well, you can find bad points. I can do a balanced video on some of the negative points of joining of service, of long-term employment in the military. I can do that. But at the end of the day, we'll always come back to the fact that people joined while they're fairly naive for World War I, but they were fully in the know when it came to World War II, and just as many turned up and joined. When it's calling, when it's in the heart, you can't tell people what not to do, because although we could do things in different ways, you know, I believe that our force protection and preservation, I think goes a little bit overboard, but you'll still have a good life. You'll have a future-proof career, and I think that you'll have a more stable life. And I couldn't talk you out of it if I tried anyway. Make your own decision after your own career, whether it goes for 4 years or whether someone's going to 17 platoon tomorrow, oath, affirmation, it'll actually be the right hand, but this could be a 40-year career. We explained to one of them on the phone, you know, if you're out there in James Carr, we saw you there before, this could be a 40-year career. You think you're going in for 4, well, you're going to be a different person after 3 months. You're going to be another different person after 6 months. You're going to be a different person after 4 years. You'll get the option then to get out and then maybe regret for the rest of your life, what could have I been in the military? Or you might stay in for 40 years. A lot of people do. If you don't change things in life and you're happy with it, and there's bored times and there's times when it's a little bit hectic, who cares? Life is like that. If you want everything, you just never get divorced. That'll make more sense once you've been married, team. Joseph Barker. Does she want to be a paramedic in the military? Kaz, the stream is buffering. No. Can we just get a quick yes? Is it good or bad? Good or bad? If you subscribe right now, team, if this is your first time here, what we'll see is some thumbs up. if this is your first time here, and everyone can also be nice to you. We've got a fantastic community here. We reach out for each other. This is a stream that wasn't necessarily Joseph Barker. This is not your first time here. But this is a forever channel. Okay, it gives you somewhere to go. It gives you, Lauren, this is not your first time either here, love. Dave D, stop it. This is a forever channel. It's an Australian channel. It's an authentic channel. I don't hide behind a fake name. My name is Dean Caswell. You can look it up, as Joe Biden would say. PK stream is better now, Kaz. Thanks, mate. And well done to your son, who's at Yamba at the moment, having a great time with his pending enrolment himself. Chronic, what do we need to know about you, mate? I haven't seen your name up here too often. Is there a question you'd like to have for us? Oh, Lauren, I got you. I thought you might have been a bit hungover. She's been having some wine nights lately, celebrating some good luck that she's made for herself. Sam, I wanted to be Army Air Corps, but I got flat feet. There's an irony in that you want to fly and they're not letting you do that because of your feet, isn't there? That's because first time here, she'll be here, mate. I don't know. As long as you can get along with others, it's great here. Ask questions, we'll answer them. Where are you from? It's an exotic name. Just let us know what interests you, mate. Any questions you might have, and either myself or those in blue that are our moderators will come to the assistance, Tarzan rope down to you and say, how can we help you? Correct, you're spectating. That's fine, mate. This might have to be a quick stream. How do you like this background? The room's a mess. I'm looking at moving out of here soon into a place and get rid of the last life so that I can go down and get some new furniture, etc. Geez, when you're nearly 50 teams, it's crazy how much crap you have. Hard to get rid of. Sometimes you need a house fire. Too soon? Maybe. Fugly. How's you and your lovely lady going? There's no cash here. Neville bloody Bartos. Cash, none. Jay, where's the pink doll, Kaz? She's sitting off the side. For those that don't know, this is Hillary Clinton. She is always here in person. She has the Google app in her ear. And if the stream ever goes down, it's because we've mentioned a name. You started. If it goes wrong, it's your own fault. Once again, the Democrats over in the USA have voted for ICE not to be assisted by the Democrat states, considering they have up to 25,000 murders by illegal immigrants each year. I think that is a disgrace. I think that makes anyone that doesn't assist with that a traitor to that country, and they should be treated accordingly. Dewey Curtis got my PFA in 3 days. Pre-enlistment fitness assessment. You'll be fine, mate. Infantry in 1st of June. You'll be good. You'll be good. Make sure you beat each time. It's you versus you. And you shouldn't have to be fit to just go for military team. You should be doing it for yourself. This is me speaking out of my ass at the moment, who hasn't basically done almost anything in 4 years. Even gave up sex just so I could spend more time in the lounge. But that's all right. Could help the US for that matter, the rest of the world. Well, I think Donald Trump is doing more than God is for the US at the moment. And I'll raise a McDonald's cup for him. Sam, if I want to be infantry, do flat feet still pose an issue? Absolutely I do, Sam. The irony is most people end up with flat feet, with collapsed arches, etc. But what it's about is to possibly bad back, to shin splints, to compartment syndrome, and all these other things. Michael Stott will be able to give you a lot more nous on this. He's our local medical guy here. But flat feet means all the pressure is on your back, right? There's no spring in your step. The irony behind that is sort of everyone almost has flat feet in boots as well, because the weights that we carry, that will transfer a lot of stress to your back, compression of discs, etc. Neville Bartos, I have to get a medical waiver just because they had me going in as a trainee carpenter, not qualified. Huh. That's Jesus' trade. Good luck with that one. The only thing I'm good at with woodwork is getting splinters. Yeah, it was an accident we made this channel. I've told people that we could go in any direction that you want to, but the community keeps grabbing us and dragging us in that direction. You could talk about 187. Okay, the designated for murder in America. We can talk about crime statistics. We can talk about mental health. We could talk about any subject you want. When you've been on the world 50 years, you tend to have a little bit of wisdom, especially when your ears are as big as mine and you hear people smarter than yourself gobbing off about things your whole life. Specialist roles. I used to have a video on that before our channel was taken down. Buffer and bad. Shit. Study. Haley, how you going, mate? How you going? Good to have you here. How's the car going? The new car? She's had it for a little while now, but you can jump on Instagram. Haley's over there. So is Lauren. November Rain, talk about support company. I can let you know quickly that support company, if you look at things in the trajectory of employment, and we're talking about infantry at the moment because the thing most enterprise, and that is Kapuka as a recruit, followed by the School of Infantry, IETs, initial employment training, and then you go there as a infantry soldier. Bam, time out, hit the brake, Kaz, pump the brake. Let me quickly explain something that someone said. If you get to any IET training, whether that be cook, okay, and we've had this happen before with the cook, whether it be engineers, okay, hold fast, whether it be Bluebell, okay, which is Raimi, whether it be playtime, transport, whether it be aviation, whether it be cavalry, infantry, whatever. They asked, if you go to Kapuka, can you say, this is not what I want? I don't want this shit. You know, can you do that? The answer is yes. At Kapuka, you can say, this ain't working out. It's not working out. I don't want to go, on with this. They've already spent a lot of money on you, okay, but it's better that it's in early, and then they'll give you an administrational, psychological screening from there, and then extradite your see you later, get out, don't pass, go. It's nearly always a mistake, It's nearly always a mistake. It's normally emotionally driven. But that time stops when you leave Kapuka. The reason is you are, in fact, despite the fact that you haven't done initial employment training, specialist in any trades, you are, for all intensive purposes, a Australian soldier, a general service Australian soldier, which means you can still qualify for all of these different jobs within the military that they decide you could be able to be employed in. So if you go to initial employment training and you say, I don't want to be here anymore, it's too late. You can't just say, I don't want to be here. There will then be a psychological screening. Is it medical? Okay, is there something at home? Is it administrational? And I'll talk to you about all that. So your initial employment training, there is an expectation that you finish. If you want the best chance of a core transfer, you can't just say halfway through infantry when you've failed a couple of things in a row, hey, look, I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah, duh, you're failing, mate. That's a natural byproduct of not succeeding in something you thought you were only here for 13 weeks for, but now you're here for a year. And that can happen. Well, what would occur there is you can be re-ramped into another corps, but you are a general service soldier, and no, you can't just quit. So once you get through your initial employment training, then you will be given, depending on how you went within that course, if you do shit, if you're not fit, if you're not prepared, if you're not a player, if you're just a piece of shit and no one likes you, then you'll get posted to somewhere you probably don't want to go. Some of the positions you could end up in, sorry there, Simon, you could end up in Tyndall. You know, even the crocodiles are trying to diddy mow out of there, getting out of the village. But basically, you make your own pathway. All right. When you get to the end of IETs and you've told them this is where I want to go, this is where I want to go, and you perform well, then you're likely to get that spot. Yeah. And then when you get up that spot, then from there you go into the battalion, you go into the squadron, you go into the troop, whatever, the battery, right? And then from there you will do a period of service before you are classed private proficient. From there, you'll start to look at leadership courses, which are not about leadership at all, which is one of the failings that is starting to happen in the Australian Army, managers instead of leaders, and that leads to failure. But teaching those and judging those, sometimes harshly. So, support company. Once you've done your private P, what you like it at. Rest, still buffer. Hope you're doing well. Tomorrow's painting day, Lauren. Okay, so we're going all right. So when you get into the battalion, we'll use that for an example at the moment because that's my subject matter expertise, my background. Then what will happen is you will start to say, you know what, I wouldn't mind being an assault pioneer, doing field construction, doing engineer-esque type work with a more offensive capability when it comes to breaching, being part of combat teams, hitting targets in urban environments, etc., in the absence of engineers being attached to a unit. You might be, okay, but I want to go to mortars. I want to be into indirect support roles, dropping mortar rounds, either direct or indirect, onto the enemy. You can have DFSW direct fire weapons. You can have snipers, recon, and surveillance. Harry, God bless your cotton socks. You can have signals. I believe there should also be, thank you, Stoddy, medical. I think there should be a medical platoon, and medics should always be, if they're infantry, infantry medics. People that already know the way we work, the way we talk, already have our fitness, already have our toughness, and are able to fit in instantly. And that will give people, instead of getting out of infantry, it gives them an option to go sideways and become a medic. Okay, be able to carry all the controlled drugs, etc., and then to come back with everything they already know about this corps, come back as an independent individual inside PHQ, and they'd be good to go. So there's a lot of pathways you can go down, but understand this. When you go into a specialist role in whatever your core is, that is how you will promote as well. What do I mean by that? If you're a sniper, then you'll promote through, the sniper roles, where you'll become sniper supervisor, where you will carry on as lance corporals, corporal, sergeant, warrant officer as well through support company. If you're good and if you're more competitive than the others around you. But that also means there's an expectation you'll go to the School of Infantry and you'll be in that wing as well. PK, Kaz, my son got into Army Infantry with flat feet and he runs cross country. There is a recent ADF study and similar in the US where the medical evidence indicates flat feet no longer an issue. Well, it's been an issue since the dawn of time, and that's because there's real results and real injuries that stem from it. Again, as we said, I've got flat feet pretty close, collapsed arches. It even hurts me to be for 10 minutes on a bloody stand-up paddleboard. But that was caused after service. He'll be fine, I'm sure. He's tall, very tall, 195 centimetres, PK's son. Here's one for you. PK used to be in our ration packs, mate, and juicy fruit. I love PK, the spicier version. Mr. Bryce, exactly. Combat medics are great. They are. It's like a camera. What's the best camera? It's the one that's goddamn with you. Okay, you know who else is with us? Is Mr. P. It's the same out of focus and buffer. I'm not sure what's going on, team. We might have to get out of here if this is the case. But let me say something. For everyone that is in the stream right now, Mr. P, one of our beloved members of the stream, 51 is the year he was born. Okay, understand that Mr. P is in the hurt locker at the moment. He comes on here to have a go at us and keep us honest, but he's also not doing very well medically. Yeah. So, with all seriousness, Mr. P, we love you, mate. You've been here for so long. Mucho respect. The pain wall, right? We all go through from time to time. You're going through more than what we are. I sincerely hope that you feel comfortable where you are. I hope your family are getting all the time to spend that bit of time with you, have those conversations that you want to have with them, and that you look back on what you think has been a stellar life and you don't have an unticked bunch of boxes that won't come to fruition. The bullfrog, Reddit. A little better this. Thanks, Brady. Cheers, mate. My dad was close to being a Huey pilot in NAM. I've never felt in more danger than when I've been in Huey helicopters. Mr. Cow, Mr. Patterson, delivered all the way from Tasmania, from Lauren. Bam. See, Lauren, I saw that. Great, how you going, mate? Hunter. Better than being hunted. Anyone else enlisting in the army on the 2nd of March in Perth? Hunter. That's the land of Jay Hayes. Good to have you here, mate. Jim Bones Joe. Jim Bob. Okay. His eldest son went Army Infantry Reserves, and there was a 57-year-old on his course who went to transport. He was probably fully qualified. Okay. And he went over there as an Army Reservist, and they probably said, yeah, we can take that risk. Like right now, if you can, team, so that YouTube understands that we're on and pertinent and relevant. Guys and gals, there's something you need to know as well. Aaron Mills, I see you down there, mate. Hopefully got some good news coming your way soon. Although it is easy for me to come on and stream, and sometimes it can feel disjointed, and sometimes it can feel like, holy shit, you're not getting to my comment or whatever. One thing I will let you know is I fully appreciate the fertilization of the conversations that we have by what you put over here all the time in comments. But when you go to people and they are off script, across almost any stream, you're going to see a completely different side of people apart from their edited productions. So what you're seeing is people here, not paid, willing to come here and give you advice about a subject. This is why trolling is a really weird thing. When people attack, it doesn't worry me. We attacked each other for a generation. The best insult you get is awesome. You just regurgitate it on someone else later, or let them know to eat some raw chicken. It's all good. But it wouldn't be easy for most people to do a live session about a subject matter expertise that they have. So hang with us and understand we're trying to keep everyone happy here in comments. And if you're watching this now but you weren't here for the live component of it, it's always great to have you here. We thank you for being here. This is our version of public speaking without booking a venue. That's great. Ask your question, get it answered. If you're not here, you put it in comments below and we get to that anyway. If it feels like it's a little bit in between productions sometimes, that's because I'm a dad too. I've also got a whole bunch of dramas. The doctor even told me, my doctor told me a couple of days ago, Kaz, he didn't say Kaz, he just looked at me with this weird look like Charles Bronson and said, you really, really look like shit. And I went, Doc, thanks. Let me talk about that just quickly. It's funny how people try to give you, what do you call it, controlled drugs, medication, pharmaceuticals or whatever for things like PTSD, for stress, all that sort of shit. But the stuff I got, taking into account that every single morning I've got to be up to be a father to my daughter, she comes before my well-being in some ways, although you are meant to put on a plane your own oxygen mask on before you help kids. I get it. But you can't take medication that is going to make you drowsy, that is going to make you sick, that is going to change your very way of thinking, potentially permanently. So when they ask you, why won't you take this medication? Do you know what happened to me? I've got it downstairs. It's always a difficult name, so you can't regurgitate the name. I went over and the doctor, and he was an Asian doctor, so you always got to listen to those guys. He calls me over, the chemist, and goes, do you know what this drug is? He's going, have you ever had this before? I went, no, I haven't. He goes, mate, this is not even a medication that you can just stop taking. You just can't stop taking it, even when you don't feel like not taking it anymore. He's going, it will make you physically go through withdrawals. The first few days is meant to give you migraines and nausea. They wonder why we don't want to take their drug. Jordan Peterson right now, I think for the last 6 months or more, has been on bloody rehabilitation for addiction. That's why you don't see him anymore on YouTube. Crazy. It's a balancing act, says Lauren. Yeah, it is, mate. You know, some people have to have it. Have to have it. Don't fight against it if it can rewrite the system. I get it. But you should also be very, very careful of what you take. America is being torn asunder by big pharmaceutical companies and the addiction that they drugs, a lot of them. So be careful, team. Alex Paul Young, the Musso. Great to have you here, mate. Good name, long name. JC puts their hand up. How you going, buddy? JC is our local police officer. It's great to have him here. He's part of the channel, the DNA. He's like a tattoo on our arm. Makes me feel good to have you here. When the military go overseas, we go, oops. We give a high five to the police officer and we say, I won't need your help, but can you look after my kid while I'm away? When we come back, else is on picket. That's why I take my hat off to the police officer. There's a lot of things that the police do that is really goddamn weird, but that's not necessarily brought up by them. It's brought up by policy. One of those is slowing down to 40 kilometres an hour as you pass a policeman with flashing lights on the side of the highway while he's got the arse end of his car jutting the OH&S dangerously, almost putting himself at risk and all those around him. That's dangerous. Also, why don't you have to slow down to 40 when you pass anyone that's pulled over on the side of the road doing a piss / vomit? Don't read iPads in the back of the car, team. It doesn't matter who you are. It could be one rule for all, but you'd never get anywhere, would it? You want to make sure you have the correct diagnosis before taking any meds. That's true too. Mr. P says, got my foam elbow pads on the desk to stop the hurting bursitis. If you've never had you know, when people say, Mr. P, oh, this is the most painful thing you can have, whether it be a hemorrhoid, that hurts, but it's more of a discomfort. Bursitis is insane. It's like having, put a thumbs up if you've ever had bursitis. Put a thumbs up if you've ever had Achilles tendonitis. Those two things are very similar in a way. You don't realize you've got Achilles tendon. You don't even realize you've got elbows, in there until you have a bursitis or until you've got Achilles tendonitis and it controls your goddamn life. JC says, Mr. P, my shoulder injury is bursitis. Had the bursa removed. But you're still having some real dramas with that, aren't you, JC? What's that, Hunter? All right, so like how do they check your back and asthma and stuff like that? You go into a lung machine. They see what your ability is to be able to, what do you call it? Your ability to project power from your lungs. Also, they will ask you, have you had a history of asthma? And then they'll differentiate, was it childhood asthma where you haven't had any incursions since then? If you've got adult asthma or you're having asthma attacks, you don't want to be in the army. I'm telling you now. Change that out. Don't become a firefighter either, right? But maybe become a paramedic. Maybe become a police officer or what. But you can't afford to be out for long periods of time, right, where there is no hospitals that can assist you if you suddenly go off the reservation. There's not much we can do for you. You mentioned in the infantry video the female dropout rate for the School of Infantry. Keen to shed some light on that number. It'd probably be up higher than 80%. Yeah. And what's hard for me is I've seen female soldiers at the School of Infantry that actually failed and then were passes. So maybe 100% fail, but you don't get told about it. Yeah. I haven't seen any that have passed it legitimately. But when you've got leaned on by the politicians, it makes it hard, doesn't it? I don't know where the pressure's coming from, or whether it's come from people that want another job when they get out of military. Maybe it's poor leadership. Maybe it's an embrace of values, which doesn't normally happen with the military. Yeah. I think the thing with ladies going for infantry and armored corps, etc., that they don't understand is it's not attack against females at all. What it is a protection mechanism, because I have a daughter, that I don't want my kid lied to. I want my daughter to have all the options of a long career, potentially 40 in Signals Corps, transport as a fleet manager, of an officer, okay, of intelligence, of medical. There is so many great corps within the Australian. There's just a couple. Don't go near it. You know, it's simple advice by someone that's done the job, the career, okay, in all aspects, you know, that is telling you, dude, don't do it. I've seen the females that have gone for it. I've seen the result. And I've seen some of the ladies that have gone for infantry, short, fat, and gone, how the hell did she get here? You knew she could not possibly pass, but you still let her go through. That's a mini war crime to me. Hey, Walshy boy, would you recommend cadets for someone looking at the Army? I don't know if cadets necessarily helps you for the Army. It can actually teach you some bad habits. But at the same time, cadets is a fantastic thing for getting people off the street. It is a good way of showing customs and traditions. It is a good thing for getting some personal skill sets. It is good for identifying early leadership. Okay? There's not really a connection between cadets and Army other than the uniform they wear, really. Yeah. But I would have joined if I had known it existed when I was young. So, yeah, Haley, good. She dropped in. Haley's gone, is she? No, we're frozen. No, Red Knight's going down. Okay, can you join the Army if you had scoliosis in the past? I'd say no, mate. Red, the back of the is the major part of the body that can turn you into a cripple. You know, if you put yourself in harm's way, especially willingly. Everyone will carry the pack, not as much as they used to. With CFA, PESA, etc., being scaled back in a lot of ways. But scoliosis, I couldn't. Everything is an individual case-by-case scenario. But at the end of the day, the doctors will look you over and they'll see whether that is a severe case or whether it is a minor case. They will be the ones that make the decision. Don't let someone like myself or someone else just go, this is something that you cannot get in with, because it will be looked at as an individual. They will weigh it and they will decide yes, yay, nay, whether you are going forward. If they say yes, who am I to argue? Yeah. I'm just the guy that you turn up to, and I assume as platoon sergeant or section commander or 2OC or private soldier that when you come up, there you go, mate, I know that you can run at least this speed. I know that you have passed a PESA. I know that you know how to shoot. You've passed your shoot, your machine gun, in your rifles, that you can do a nighttime live fire attack, that you can navigate, that you can do basic first aid training, that you can do communications, that you can understand how to take an order without rolling your eyes, putting your hands in your pockets or folding your arms. And when I tell you you can't wear a jumper in the rain, that you understand that there is a reason for that. And that probably means we're about to step out on something rigorous, something long, and there is a chance that your heart rate is going to be at a level that would make you a likely heat victim if you actually put that on. What's the scariest thing that can happen to you in the military? The scariest thing. Getting on picket at the middle of the night, woken up, expecting to be in a routine where you're going to go on picket at 4 o'clock in the morning. The best picket is the last picket, you know, because then you get to watch everyone else waking up and laugh at their face. But it's getting told, pack up, we're moving. Because you've unpacked your shit. You know, you've got stuff laying beside you to the left and right. You can't remember exactly where everything is in your fuss to get into your winter weight sleeping bag. All right, just to feel that cocoon of being home, sweet home. And then getting told we're going that direction. and then reaching out where your eyes aren't focused when you've got your gear on your back, wondering if I left something behind, because if I do, I'm going to get the shit yelled out of me. Leech in your pants. Nah, that doesn't worry me. Doing a shit in the jungle, having a mosquito that has never seen a human in its life, and then that you're in such an infested location, whether it be high range, whether it be Shoalwater Bay, okay, whether it be overseas or whether it be Tully, and you're about to take your pants down quickly in one swift motion. And if you don't know how to do propeller hands, you're in real trouble, because you're about to put a delicacy, truffle to an Englishman. You're about to put it out there where there's no repellent, where it's hanging, came in like a wrecking ball. And if that mosquito gets on that, there will be blood. The mosquitoes love a man's inverted drumstick. It's your balls, mate. Now, if they can get onto there, you'll be scratching, pinching, and rolling, getting told to pick your weapon up and have it going across your body, and you're going to go in a world of pain you can't get away from. JC, falling asleep on picket and getting woken up by an RSM. Oh, did that happen to you? You don't want to fall asleep on picket. I sent one of my soldiers home for sleeping on picket. He got caught. There's nothing I could do to defend him. The platoon commander went around. Don't get me wrong. O'Reilly, he was knackered. We were all knackered. But he was there sucking off the invisible man. Ha, ha. And the platoon commanders walked around in front of the gun, which is a pretty bloody stupid move in operations, and just looking in at him. He can't be asleep, can he? There he was, nodding off. He had to wake him up. What are you doing? You're asleep. I don't doubt it. Yep, I'm fucked. I was donking. No worries, you're going home. He came back about 2 or 3 weeks later, and he goes, it was one of the best holidays I ever had. He went home, got his ass kicked, and then came back. Okay, JC says, a bit of honesty here. I fell asleep once on picket, and one of our MSIs stole a set of Ninox and a rifle and tore me a new one. There's no better way of telling a man that he's fallen asleep on picket than bloody taking his kit. Mr. Bryce says, putting a slouch hat on backwards. Yep. That can be a very embarrassing thing too, can't it? Especially if you're in a public environment like a shopping centre. Iraq hunt. Do two commander and regular infantry ever together? Yeah, they do. They do on operations. The only reason why they don't work together more often as a combined unit, whether it be inner, outer, cordons, etc., or offensive operations, is because of location. 2 commandos in Sydney and 1 area, 2 area, 3 area are in Townsville. Yeah, 6 and 8, 9 are in Brisbane, and then you've got 5 and 7 area, the book ending, the rest of Australia. So it makes them pretty bloody hard and expensive to come and catch up with us, and they've got the best facilities in Sydney. 2 Commando is advanced infantry. That is why when they do their courses, their subject courses, they come and share that with us, at our infantry courses. Yep. Josh Jackman, being in peacetime right now, what should we expect after Singleton? Like we always have, mate, it is the train at 100% and wait for the glass to smash. There's one thing I can guarantee, that no one knows what tomorrow's enemy is going to look like. But another thing that we teach in leadership division and tactics is you cannot make assumptions on red force, meaning the threat, the enemy, etc. So don't assume that the next people we go up against, if you cannot think of the scenario in any which way it could happen, is going to again be untrained people in Afghanistan and goat herders, gangsters, okay? They may be conventional forces. Will they be blooded? Will they be people that are of peer value? Very unlikely, especially when we say we're the best small army in the world. Now, ally is USA, Britain, Canada, Germany, Japan, Canada, I've said that already, Kiwis, India. We've got all the big hitters, team. We've got all the people that have got notches on their belts. Who's it going to be and what's going to start it? No one expected that Franz Ferdinand getting assassinated was going to start World War I. It's always something off to the side. It's always someone that gets hit at the pub over there that ends up with my teeth getting smacked out over there. Fuggy boy, love to Gina. Gina, Jardina. Kane, how you going, mate? Took you a while to get in here today, my man. To assume makes an ass. Yep. Joe Hayes, Dysart Parrot enters the chat. Oh, I love the back and forth between you guys. Hey, Peter Dimmy, how you going, mate? Good to have you here. What's going on with your life? Walshy boy, what do you think of cadets? I reckon it's a bunch of muppet teenagers. I'm also a teenager, though, running around, flexing their pretend power. I'm doing cadets, but I reckon I can try something else. Well, mate, it keeps people off the streets. Like I said, I've never run a cadet activity. I've never been around cadets. You know, they don't have weapons. They don't get paid, right? So as far as I'm concerned, they're doing it voluntarily. I don't know what it's like. You know more about it than I do. If they're not hurting anyone, no worries. But again, they should not assume by being a cadet, you should never try and represent that you were in the Australian Army. Do not wear, as a cadet, your uniform into McDonald's, etc., and then have people that can potentially ask you a question thinking that you're in the Army and you cannot possibly answer those questions. But I say the same thing to someone in Army Reserve. I say the same thing to someone in the Army. Be very careful that you have enough time up that when you wear your uniform in public that you're able to answer a question or be able to get back to someone with a question that they ask you when you're representing yourself, your country, your uniform, Australia flag here, slouch hat or beret, that you can answer those questions, because you might be the first time that they've ever spoken to an Australian soldier, and they'll walk away from that with a positive or negative, outlook on the entire Army. It's the way it works. What's your standard day look like, Kaz, when you weren't on deployment? James, it's a great question. And remember, this also depends on what corps you're in. And this is why I tell people that infantry is the best. And it's not because we're in the most danger. It's because we're in a ability other than our pack, other than our controlled equipment, and other than our rifle. That's it. And being fit. That's it. So our normal day can be a bit of everything. But one thing I guarantee it's going to be is you're going to turn up at 7:20 or before that. You're going to be around your best mates, so to speak, your brothers. And then from there, you will get told by the platoon sergeant, line up, section commanders over here, get ready to account for the mistakes and the fuck-ups of your men. Platoon commander, he might be at the back, he might come out. Don't know. We call the roll, right, and then the guys come out. From there, the section commanders grab their guys and they will take on the responsibility of the physical trainer and take their section away, that they are responsible as part of their PARs, as part of their appraisal reports. Right? If they've got a bunch of fat soldiers, their report goes down, not just the soldier. And then from there, what will occur is they'll go away for 40 minutes. We normally go for 40 minutes to an hour on PT. Light just went out. That's okay. Call them blackout, Mr. P probably. And then from there, what occurs is you will then, after that PT, you will then, and that's basically 5 days a week, you will then come back in the dress of the day at 9:30. So you get nearly an hour after PT. Yep. And you can do anything with that. You can go off base, you can do whatever you want. As long as you're back, dress of the day, in webbing, in uniform, presenting well, good to go for whatever the training of the day is going to be. And then you do that training up until you leech your lunch out of the boss, the sarge. You go away for another hour, and then you come back, and then you spend all your time trying to say, hey, we really need to get knocked off early, to make up for the times that we're about to go outfield, or because of the things we're going to do for administrational purposes have a good reason, or we'll do training for the rest of the day. But take into account, we can train you for 20 hours, 24 hours. We can train you for 1. It balances out. You're going to go outfield for long periods, and then there's going to be periods where you're not going anywhere. So don't think when you see someone else that is knocking off early, oh, look, they're getting out of everything. You go, no, he might be going outfield when you're not going outfield. What goes around comes around. Yep. So when you're back in barracks, it's meant to be refurbishing, getting fit again, working out some of the dramas, getting ready for the next hit out, the next training, the next exchange with the US, the next deployment, different cycles, part of the battalion or the company live fire, the battalion live fire, part of the brigade activity that's there for the year. Course periods. The courses will come up too. Your life in the army just goes along. The longest 4 years, the longest time is the first 4 years. And after that, it's open-ended. You just turn up, do your shit, go home. Turn up, do your shit, break up, and then start again. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And when people get out at 4 years, I think to myself, it's so sad, because almost everyone I meet that gets out at 4 years, to a T, tells you I should have stayed in longer. I got out for the wrong reason. I got out for the wrong person. Jordan Cater, does ADF train the same way as USMC? No, we don't. But we train with them, alongside them, and we have crossover, and we have some areas of each other. Yep. What is your motivation that you rely on when you are tired and tested to your limits? Jordan, I'm not sure. Are you talking about in the military? It's just not being seen as a loser or a slacker or someone that gives up. There is so much internal pressure as a professional soldier, as a man, to not be seen as weak, to not let the team down. I'll tell you something, guys. Mr. Bryce will be able to be all over this, and I agree, Mr. Bryce. Give yourself 10 years, because everyone that takes you on after that's going to be, oh, this guy was a soldier for 10 years. He's going to turn up. He's a team player. You can know he can take criticism. He's not going to be looking at his watch. This lad's going to be good to go, or ladette. Lass. Right. When you're in the military, we're talking about what keeps you going. There is no harder critic on you than you. When a field trip comes up and you might have got your ingrown toenails cut out, you might have got, this is one you might not like, even if you don't need to for some reason, we'll cut your wisdom teeth out before you go overseas, all four, normally at the same time. Yeah? But basically, as soon as you miss one trip, as soon as you miss one bush X, when the platoon comes back, your platoon, it's like they don't know you. They're like, you weren't there. We've got nothing to talk about with you. You weren't there for the last 2 weeks, 10 days, the last test. So then you've got to get back out to the next one. You want to be part of it. You want to be part of everything, so that you're still a part of the conversation. Otherwise, you're just hearing people talk about, what did Robbo do? I can't believe that Smithy went down. How come Smithy went down? Mate, the boss is a dick. Okay, what did he do? It's like being a gossiper. What do you reckon, Mr. Bryce? Agree with that? You don't want to miss out. Alex King, enlisting. When, buddy? We've got the enlistees that are going on this trip that go tomorrow. This is their last night. We've got Kirky from Adelaide, single mums. We've got Harry Murphy from Sydney. We've got Jason Onley, long-time subscriber there from Sydney. We've got KY Max, he's from Queensland. We've got James Carr, long-term here as well from ACT. Guys, I will not be there for Sydney tomorrow. Reason being, my ex-partner is over in India at the moment, or trying to get to India, and I'll be taking my daughter to school, picking her up from school, etc. And you need to be there for your oath. Mr. Bryce says, yep, you want to be there for everything your team does, especially deployments. I remember one of the best people I've ever met. He doesn't come to these, but his name was Todd Noble. If anyone is in chat and you know who Todd Noble is, a fantastic man. Now he's a police sergeant in Mount Isa. I remember a trip where 2 hour was going to Iraq, Solomons, Timor. I'm not sure if there was a fourth one, but there was 3 or 4 trips that were all happening at once, and there was only one person of the rank of sergeant that wasn't going, and that was Kaz. And that was because I was in the op cell, and they had replaced that because of equity and diversity with some non-arms corps people that had come in there. And that really pissed me off, because I just got back from volunteering as a platoon sergeant instructor at the school in Tully for the section commander's course. But when we'd run the range package for everyone to qualify and zero their weapons before they go over, I think there was over 2,000. And then we'd put them all through their BFAs and listen to their excuses, one, why they're fat and why they can still go despite the fact they're fat. I'm not talking about infantry here. All right. And they still got on the trip because of different skill sets they had that were essential for those missions. Well, I remember one of the last buses when Todd Noble was there. This is one of the most pivotal moments of my military career. He was on the bus and he looked out and he just, check hold for a second. And he came off the bus, came downstairs, unlike a sailor, came over in his equipment, came over, put his arms around me and gave me a hug and his tap on my back. And he said, mate, you should be going on these trips. It's bullshit that you've been left behind. And there was a WO2 named Nicholas Haddock, and he was left behind to be an RSM for rear details. And there was also Colonel Constable at the time, Major Constable at the time, and he missed out on the trips too. He's a fantastic officer. Nick Haddock, fantastic as senior NCO. But we all missed out, and that's part of the thing. But missing out, I had tears in my eyes, just like I did when I missed out on Somalia. Right, in 1993, I think it was. Got called up and ended up doing guard instead because I had too many people from the 2nd 4th Battalion that I was part of going over to 1RAR, the land of the donkey. 6 months apply. You do not want to get in at 17 team. You don't. You think you're a man, you're normally not. Okay, the scaffolding of your body is not ready to take on the weights. Your family can pull you out because of either attitude or because of stresses from Kapuka. 3 months, without a day off can be too hard for people, okay, with a less developed brain, and that ain't your fault. It is a characteristic trait of someone who is young, immature, and thinks they know the answers until they get older and then shake their head and go, oh, shit, it's embarrassing thinking I used to dance to Cotton Eye Joe. You get it? Don't do it at 17, team. I recommend 19. You can apply. You can apply if they say yes and go through it, but buyer be warned is what I'd say. We're going to get out of here in a second, team. We just wanted to say goodbye to the lads of 17 Platoon as they go and swing their oath or affirmation and say, hey, look, we're ready to step up. We don't know what the next 4 years is going to look like. We don't know what the next 10 years is going to look like. But we do know that enemies come at times and from places that you least expect. A policeman doesn't know what their career is going to look like, nor does a fireman, nor does a paramedic. Okay, we do not have a monopoly on danger being in the army. We don't. Just mathematical career stream. But this is just one that seeks out and closes with an opposing deliberate threat towards them. Right? So you can go through an entire career without hurting anyone or being hurt and without mental illness, etc. Don't start thinking just by joining the army that you're going to come away with mental problems. That's not the case. All right? Hey, Kaz, do you think that an 18-year-old who is 5'7" and 72 kilos, that's pretty heavy for 5'7", man, will have any problem with pack marching? It all comes down to individual, Hunts. And you've got to remember that we will train you. We will train you correctly. You'll have PDIs, the best training instructors, that will be teaching you through trends and through ways to minimize injuries while going up in stages of weight and distance to get you up to the mark. You'll be fine. And you'll have negative stress that tells you, don't show that this is hurt as much as it is. Freeze up and shocking focus. All right, we're going to get going now. We'll get going. Right, team, thank you very much, and thank you to those volunteers of the Australian public, those Aussies. We don't care what your background is. We don't care what your religion is. We do not care what your gender is. All that we care is that you are a volunteer and you're about to step up and be able to, whatever the reason for, deploy on behalf of Australians in the customs and traditions of the Australian soldier. There is going to be people that knock you. There is going to be people that are trolls. Don't worry about them. They're probably negative and trolls about everything else, including Labrador puppies. Just wash them away. This is about your family. Last thing, your name, your family name that you wear on the right-hand side. Yeah, never bring that into ill repute. Okay, never bring the Australian flag into ill repute. Both of those things should balance you out, keeping you moving forward and make you the best possible team member, the best possible Australian that you can be. And when you look back on a legacy, and you've done your career, you'll realize why I do what I do now. Am I right all the time? Nah. Do I claim to be? No. Bit of CNN thrown in there at times as well. But I think I'm the only one that is here at the moment doing this for you. So tick subscribe, enjoy this, and know that it could be your turn next. And we're here for you before you join, during your enlistment period, okay, and also after your Forever channel. Thank you to the directors. Thank you to Kirky, to Harry, to Jason, to KY Max, to James Carr. And thank you to those that are going next, because you'll be at Kapooka at the same time as these guys. Thanks a lot, guys. It's Sunday, your day of rest. Now go and rest. Take it easy. Even in WA. Medic! See you, guys.